Right then guys, hello, dubbing day today. Lederfliegel cream neutral. Lederhosen, I don't know, leather. Cream neutral. I don't know what nationality this kit came from, but that is a neutral cream for leather uppers, I presume. Yeah, so what I do with my boots is sometimes dub the stitches. Okay, so I'm putting like a wax or a dubbing in the stitches so they're protected and they don't let the moisture go all the way through. It does wear out, especially if you're walking through wet grass and stuff like that. But these are my work boots. You've probably seen them actually. They're usually a little bit browner than this, but now I'm putting these in the service. My little trick that I do is I have two pairs of boots, the same. I have a bad pair for work, which get abuse, and they're not really for driving home because of the amount of crap that gets stuck in the sole, the grease and stuff like that. They stay in the workshop, and I have the same pair of boots to kick about in, or not go out, but you know, just do general domestic things and drive home in. So once one pair's knackered, then I buy a new pair, use those for good, and then commission these boots that I wear at home at work, if you understand what I mean. So I'm rotating them on a cycle. So this is my choice of boot, which is the V12 Rocky. I like V12. I've been using these for what, I don't know, 15 years now. The Rocky is my first choice because of the zip and ease of removal, but it's also a robust boot. It's probably the most robust boot I've ever worn for the price. Yeah, what I've had to do recently, and this is down to cost, is get the 50 quid a year that we get from work and buy a different style of boot. And the Rockies have gone up quite considerably, but these are a Magnum type steel toe cap. They're a lot lighter in weight. Okay, there is a difference between the boot. I can move quicker with these, and what I've decided to do after wearing these for about 2 months at work, they've managed to cope with the environment. So I thought, right, well, they're okay for kicking around. So I've cleaned them, and now I've dubbed them. I'm going to change the laces at some point because these won't last very long. But yeah, they're my domestic kickabout boot for now. Okay, but they're not my first choice. The reason I've chosen these for SHTF is because of the robust design, steel toe cap, toe protector, as well as a heel protector. Believe me, you can drop things on the backside of you and get hurt, so this will actually help. Soft on here, okay, which is vital really because of moving about all day. You get fatigue, but it's the sole that makes the difference. Okay, now this is oil and heat resistant compared to an airwear, which if you drop a hot piece of metal on the floor from gas cutting and you step on it, your airwear will literally burst into flames. These don't. Okay, these just, you get a little puff of smoke and that's about it. They do cause damage, but that's beside the point. The bars in here, okay, are for ladder climbing. They're for ladder climbing. So if you're going up ladders which are made of poles or round things with no grip on them, they will grip even when they're wet. And I do go up ladders up and down when I'm doing tanker inspections and repairs. So that is vital at work, but also in an SHTF situation where you might have metal sticking out of the ground, or you're having to climb up ladders, fire escapes, whatever, then yeah, okay, so that's a done thing, isn't it? But also these have got steel plates in them. This is a heavy boot. These have got steel plates in them, so not for landmines obviously, because it'll take your legs off, but it will stop something piercing through here and going through your foot. All right, maybe wooden traps, stuff like that, if you get to that. But yeah, generally this is a good boot that doesn't make my feet tired. Now, I did have an issue with plantar fascia, which is a condition you get with your heel from walking on flat all the time. These have got a soft cushion in here, and mainly the inner is quite soft as well and replaceable. It works for me. This soft part here has cured my plantar fascia, which is brilliant, because when you get aches and pains, it just drags you down, doesn't it? And if you have to walk for long distances, that doesn't work. Now the laces, with the V12s, you get a bottle opener, and you also get a spare pair of laces, which are crap. Which are these, yeah, they're crap. They're not very good. So what I do is I use these, which is paracord. Yeah, paracord is quite robust. It's quite robust. So I changed them over. Never had a broken lace since. Yep. So that's the boots. That's the boots I wear. Now, for clothing, I know some of you guys like to wear paramilitary gear, survival gear, camouflage gear. I find that quite risky. Okay. Now, when you watch Funky Prepper, you'll see he's in his John Connor type contacting the world base. Yeah, you know, it looks good, doesn't it? But it has a risk factor involved with wearing paramilitary gear, because then people will think that you're paramilitary. If there's a situation in the country which involves the military and maybe armed rebels, for instance, if you get spotted wearing camouflage gear, you could get shot. The Ukrainian war, the guys, it looks like they're playing airsoft, because they're wearing coloured bands on their arms, and it is simply to identify each other, because the uniforms are so similar these days, you can't spot each other apart, can you? And Patrick Lancaster, watching him, he said you've got to wear a band, otherwise they mistake you for the enemy, they will shoot you. It's as simple as that. So wearing military gear it could be risky. Plus there's the embarrassment factor, isn't it? If you rock up somewhere and you're standing in the supermarket queue and there's a guy who's actually just nipped in there, and he's wearing his uniform, and he looks at you and you can't work out what's going on, you've got to come up with something like, yeah, well, I'm a wildlife photographer, mate, or yeah, just come from airsofting, yeah, you know what I mean? To me, it's an embarrassment, because if you're not in the armed services, you haven't earned the uniform, have you? Yeah. But splitting the clothes, wearing a combat jacket, there's nothing wrong with that with jeans, or wearing the combat trousers like I do with a civilian top, works, doesn't it? But I don't like the military gear for robustness and for practicality. The back pockets are crap. You can't put separate items in separate pockets. They are just for map pockets, and they fall to bits, whether they happen to be summer gear or thicker material. European wear gear, not that good at all, but they look good. I do like military gear, and it's a childhood thing. Yeah, I think it was because I was deprived when I was younger, living on a military base, and I was too small to fit in the gear. By the time I was big enough to fit in the gear, I had that, I've got to have some of that, and I've always had military gear about, and I wear it. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I wear it because it is practical. From exercising, for instance, you get the mobility. Like these trousers that I've got on, I go down the gym in these because I have full mobility. Yeah, plus I can do yoga, stuff like that. You know what I mean, man? It's just one of those things. Yeah. But my choice is like an industrial workman type trousers for SHTF. Material dries out quickly. You have knee pads and separate pockets. Yeah, they're built a lot more robust for an extreme environment, so they last a long time. So even if you don't have the knee pads in the knee pad area, you can put things like cagoule in, can't you? Or your waterproofs, or stuff that folds up into a square that you can pad your knees out with. You can pull them out then and use that for for whatever you need to, and then put them back, so it's a storage space. Plus the pockets that are on the trousers are individual, so you can find the trousers for the gear that you have. My heat gun goes in my left-hand pocket on my blue striped trousers. This one is long and it's bloody awkward to put in anything. Yeah, but I use this a lot, both at work and at home, because I'm a smoker. Yeah, but there is the flame there. So it's one of those things. Yeah, so I have robust boots and industrial gear, which I wear, which will last the time, and I can tell you they do, because the job that I do is more than extreme. Yeah. Plus there's that grey man factor as well. Now fitters overalls have reflective stripes on them. On the legs, they're there so you can spot the movement when a guy's walking. Before you see the high vis on the chest, you see it on the legs, you see that movement, because we are, as males, we're tuned into movement, aren't we? Yeah, so when we see something move, it attracts our attention a lot quicker than a static object, because your brain has to think then, what's that? Yeah, that time is the difference between being hit by something, a moving vehicle, or not. Yeah, but it works also for riding a bicycle, which I do. My high vis on my trousers here, they're really good, because you can see them at night, and plus you can see them in the daytime because they're orange. But it's the industrial man type of look, which is the Playmobil man. Okay, if SHTF, where you are in a real shit situation, guys are going to look at it and say, right, okay, I want you and you and you to help me do this, get in that digger and move that, because either you're wearing that uniform, as it were, that you can do that job. Whereas if you're wearing paramilitary gear, they hand you a gun and say, right, fucking get on the front, if you understand the philosophy behind it. Yeah, so people generally, if you could walk anywhere in high vis gear, and people will think you're a workman, won't they? And I think Urban Prepper talked about this, high vis and crash helmet. Yeah, people look at instantly will make a judgment on what you wear as to what you are and what you do. Okay, so if a workman is always fairly neutral, isn't it? You'll see them everywhere all the time, the high vis gang. It could be dangerous, obviously, if you're wearing high vis in the wrong situation, but obviously you're going to wear your clothes at that time that matter, aren't you? But for me, at this point in time, industrial gear is good, and it's long lasting. Yep, so the last bit that I want to say here is, at this time, okay, I know that I get like an extra 50 quid a year to buy safety boots, and as I told you, I rotate my boots, plus I put the extra in, and it is worth the money to pay that extra to get quality boots that are going to last you the time. And I'd advise now, if not any other time, is find a boot that's comfortable, that you can sit straight into, that you like, is going to last, and pay the money for them, because everything's going up in price. And the availability of some gear, because I don't think these are actually made in the UK now, some of the gear is going to be very expensive. You don't live in a war zone where you can acquire boots and clothing off dead soldiers, yeah, because that was at one time, wasn't it? In certain wars, they'd acquire boots that would fit them and then carry on. Yeah, you have to make sure that you have something that's going to last the time. And I'm not advising get V12s. This is just my personal choice, but these are a good industrial boot. This is through my tried and tested. Okay, I know you'll have your choice, which is great. Yeah, which is interesting. If you want to let me know what you do actually wear, whether you wear a hiking boot or a steel toe-cap industrial boot or an army boot, let me know. Yeah, in the comments below. Always interested to know. Yeah, but that's my choice. That is my choice. Yeah. The only weakness is with these, other than the fact it has a zip there, which you can also stitch up if it breaks, is for ease of taking off at the end of the day. Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is unlace boots when you've just finished a shift, a 10-hour shift. Yeah. So anyway, guys, I hope that was interesting for you. I'll see what I can come up with in the next video. In fact, I should really show you this box I got here, which is my repair and maintain box, yeah, which is the housewife kit, yeah. I'll do that in a video sometime. Other than that, garden's growing, yeah, things are sprouting now, so that's all good, yeah. Until next one, see you later.